I'm a 30-year-old with terminal brain cancer. I'm going to be dead in 5 years, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life running marathons. I did a medical trial, and during it they had me doing a head scan, a brain scan, which I had never done for any of the previous medical trials that I had done. But it was just this particular one because it was on a medical trial on something to do with epilepsy. And within that scan, even though I had zero symptoms at all, they said, it seems to be a benign brain tumor, but it is a brain tumor nonetheless. Yeah, I went on, and then when I had my second scan, that was quite a shock. The first one wasn't actually that much of a shock, oddly enough, but the second one, when they were like, okay, this is not benign, we've had a look at it, it's cancerous, it's grown significantly, it's grown by like 30% since the last scan, and there's also like little sort of things that we can detect that makes it look like it's likely to be cancerous. And then from there, I think I had surgery within a month after that. When I asked them about like what's the life expectancy, it wasn't like a kind of a Hollywood movie moment where they were like, you have this many years to live. They never do that. They were saying, okay, well, the average life expectancy is this, but they were quick to say, now that average that we get that information from, that's usually from people who are in their 60s. So people who are twice your age, that's where this data is from. Because people who are 30, not a lot of people who are 30 get a brain tumor in general, but also it's nearly unheard of for someone who's 30 to have a non-symptom brain tumor and have surgery before having symptoms. It's very, 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 very rare. And so they said that, but then they were like, we don't have data on people like you, but the people who are closest to you, it's 5 years. And so I kind of knew, all right, that's brilliant that I have that information now. I will probably outlive that, because the younger you are, the more likely you are to be able to survive diseases. So I knew that I could honestly say that the life expectancy is 5 years, but also know that the realistic likelihood of me outliving 5 years was quite high. So I didn't think that it was like, hey, I'm free, I'm fine, I'll definitely get past 5 years. That would be stupid to think that, but I think I'll get past that. I just kind of knew that I'd be able to tell a really good story about someone who's being sort of fighting against cancer, and I'm likely not to survive, but I'm likely going to be able to put up a good fight that I think people will be able to be inspired by and enjoy watching, because they'll be rooting for me. And ultimately we all have to die at some age, but I think the longer that I survive, the more kind of sets a good marker for, like, hey, he's in there, he's fighting another round, he hasn't given up. And I think everybody likes stories like that because they see it within themselves, where it's saying, if this human being can do this, then why can't I do it? I recently did have a good run that I was very happy with, because my knee has been a bit sore lately. Yeah, I wanted to sort of focus on walking with a heavy weight rather than running, just to kind of make something more difficult, because walking a marathon is hard. It's not easy. The crowd, the audience, they want to be entertained. So it needs to be difficult. If you're not overcoming something that's difficult, it's just a walk in the park. So I had to find a way to not hurt my knee a bit more. In August, I am going to be carrying 32 kilos, my weighted vest, while doing a half marathon in all of the 32 counties of Ireland in 32 days. And then I think the last marathon of the year is the New York Marathon, which, again, I'm not going to be running, but what I'm planning on doing is wearing as many t-shirts as possible. So I'm going to wear 101 t-shirts during the whole marathon, which is going to be very, very warm and extremely heavy. Along the way, it's been like the knee injury in particular has probably been the thing that's caused me the most sort of difficulty with trying to get through, because it's this kind of balance of, my job is to run marathons, and I'm slightly able to do that. But every time I run a marathon, it resets the injury, and I don't have, like, it's a small injury, but if I can't give it the time to fully heal, it's like I'm never able to properly do that. And I don't want to just do marathons. I don't just want to start them and complete them. I actually want to break a world record for the fastest person dressed as a video game character. And it's been very frustrating for me to never be able to fully recover from that injury. It's great now that I'm going in a slightly different direction, where I'm focusing more on wearing the heavy vests, which I've been testing out a lot. It seems to be like it's going to be safe enough to do that. But yeah, during all that, there was like kind of this battle in my mind where I was injuring my body to complete these marathons, but then after the marathons were complete, I wasn't finding that it was opening doors for more sponsors to like donate to charity, which is the whole purpose of what I'm doing. And that was really hard to kind of go through, because it's like I'm doing what I'm meant to. I said from the start, where it's like I'm gonna run these marathons, I'm gonna complete these marathons, and I'm not gonna be asking people for donations, and then I'm gonna get the sponsors to donate on other people's behalves. And we just weren't getting that many sponsors coming in, and so it was like this feeling of I'm letting down the audience and I'm breaking my body, and then it's not having an effect. It's not like getting I'm not achieving the goal. The ultimate goal is to have money come in to cancer research. And if that's not happening, if everything else is working, but then that thing isn't happening, it's kind of like, what was the point in doing all this kind of stuff, building all this pile of effort and time to have it lead to not achieving the ultimate thing? It was really hard going through that. And I guess once I got cancer, I started doing social media more, and I just sort of saw more of like kind of what's going on outside of my own friend circle and the people who I interact with in sort of in real life. And then from discussing what brain cancer is like with my surgeon, with my doctors, they were saying that it's fairly consistent in terms of how much your quality of life is, and then once it gets into the nervous system, it shuts things down pretty quickly, and your heart stops working, and that's that. You're gone. Whereas, and then the same thing with the chemotherapy, because it's the brain. The brain is the most important organ in the body. Everything else can be replaced. Even the heart can be replaced. You can't replace the brain. And so they can't actually hit you very hard with the chemotherapy. Now, that was knowledge that was completely new to me, and I had studied nursing before. I'd studied sports science, which, isn't directly related, but it's still quite a lot of biology is involved in that. And so I kind of thought, all right, well, if I didn't knew nothing about any of that, then I'd imagine most people would be the same as myself, because, most people haven't. I'd probably have a larger, more knowledge of biology than the average person, just from what I studied in university. So I kind of knew that I could tell a really good story from the lack of knowledge around brain cancer and brain cancer chemotherapy. And then also that I didn't have any symptoms. I kind of just saw that I could, I wouldn't say fabricate, but I could tell a story about someone dealing with something that is incredibly difficult to overcome, even though it wouldn't, in really true reality, it wouldn't be that difficult to do. But I knew that the stereotypes of cancer would change the perception of, if I say I'm a 30-year-old with terminal brain cancer, I'm going to be dead in 5 years, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life running marathons. If you just kind of have that sentence as it is, it sounds far more meaningful than if you were to break down the reality of it. It's like, I'm a 30-year-old, I've been given a 5-year life expectancy. It's probably more than 5 years, because I was in a really unique situation, and we found out early, even though that very rarely happens. And I have a kind of cancer that doesn't affect the body's ability to do physical exercise as other forms of cancer. But that's like kind of a lot more details about the truth with the first kind of part. So it's not so much about me being really brave or anything like that. I just knew that I was in a very unique situation and that I was one of the best kind of candidates to take care of it, with, you know, being a 30-year-old, being fit, being, you know, all these other things. And I was like, I have to do it. And it's a very hard thing to do, but if you can somehow find your purpose, focus on that. If there was something that you always dreamed of doing, focus on that.